Lucio, welcome everyone. Thank you for coming to today's Talking Circle. This is your ACE Talking Circle for May. Really excited because we have a few guest speakers today. So be thinking about questions you might have for them when we get to that portion of today's presentation. First, our disclaimer. This presentation was produced under U.S. Department of Education contract number GS00F115CA with Synergy Enterprises Incorporated. The views expressed herein do not necessarily represent the positions or policies of the U.S. Department of Education. No official endorsement by the U.S. Department of Education of any product, commodity, service, or enterprise mentioned herein is intended or should be inferred. Oh, it actually played today. All right, so of course we have your ACE program officer with us today, Donna Bussell. Hi, Donna.
Hey, Casey. Hey, everybody. I'm glad you guys are here.
And I'm Casey. I'm your facilitator today. We do have some guest speakers as well. So we're going to start off with our guest speakers today, and then we'll have time for your questions for them as well. So be thinking about things you might want to know as they're talking. You're welcome to pop your questions in the chat or come off of mute to ask them. And then we'll close out with some reminders and upcoming events.
And Casey, if I can interrupt for just a second, I wanted to have some speakers today, guys, all of my grantees, because I know how hard you all have been working this past year and how hard those APRs and stressful those APRs are. And, you know, we're going to continue to ask for certain things for those APRs. And we wanted just to give you a little bit of a break, a little bit of a breather, and have some good words and good ideas maybe that could come from our speakers today. They are from back home in Oklahoma, and I know ACE, you guys do a lot of direct student services, and I know up here at the department we tend to compartmentalize who we are as Native people. We have a statute for culture. We have a statute for religion. We have a statute for arts and crafts. We have a statute for all of these things that the government is trying to help us get back because it was taken away from other statutes. And we're not a compartmentalized people. We are everything that we are. We are our land. We are our culture. It's everything who we are as a people. That's it's everywhere. I told our group yesterday, when I go back home to Oklahoma, it's healing for me. Those lands, hearing our songs, hearing our jokes, and hearing all of those, you know, different things, and it's who we are. So I think this will be a good session for you all, and hopefully you can take some of what our speakers are teaching and incorporate it maybe to your ACE program as another activity, or just to get some good words and good healing today. So thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. And I'll turn it back over to Casey.
Great. Thank you, Donna. Yeah, so our speakers today are going to talk about working with students and culturally responsive practices and programs, and their experiences working with our Native students, and honoring culture and practices in their work. And so we will go ahead and get started with that portion of today's presentation. So first we have David Sullivan. David is Kiowa Choctaw and is the special programs director for Anadarko Public Schools. And I'll let David introduce himself to you all and talk a little bit about his background. And then we'll get into it. So David.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Well, I'm glad to be here today. I'm glad to join you. I had a slight change of plans, so I had to, I'm joining you from my truck today. I'm outside of the hospital with my two daughters. One is undergoing a couple of tests today. So while she's inside, I wanted to jump in and join you today. So thank you, Donna Bussell, for the invitation. Thank you for all of those that are here that have joined us, for all of the staff on the with OIE. I really appreciate the opportunity to share and to just give you just a little bit of time today to just share a little bit about what some of the practices that I've implemented in my project over the course of the last 23 years or so. So what I was asked to present on today, and I'll try not to take too long. Donna, I'm going to watch your picture, and when I start running out of
Let me
time,
do
I
this.
need you to. There you go. That'll work. Just give me that sign, and I'll wrap it up. But so what I was asked to present on is the incorporation or the introduction of our the dance troupe that we've had, and that started back in 2005. Actually 2003, I'm sorry. 2003 is when we started the current version of our Anadarko dance troupe. The dance troupe was here at Anadarko was already in place earlier when the director at that time, who is now our vice chair for the Kiowa tribe, Jacob Sotai, had developed that and put that in place. And the dance troupe at that time, they presented quite a bit in different schools all across the state. So it was around, as I said, 2003 when we formed our group. We made our first attempt, and we were invited to Wewoka, and so we presented there at Wewoka, and from that point on, we had so many opportunities over the years. We presented at countless schools. I don't recall in those early years there were times where we would have been able to make it work, we probably could have been out on the road almost every week, just because of the number of schools that were asking us to go out, not only schools, but different conferences. And so at that point, there just was not a lot of dance troupe organizations within the other Indian education programs. Since that time, we've had other districts in the metro area here around the Oklahoma City area, and then other districts in the state. They've started to form those as well. So the requests have dropped for us. Of course, it was also impacted recently by the pandemic, and so we were not able to go out as much recently. But it's starting to pick up, and we're still trying to make sure that our young people have that opportunity. When we first started, we wanted to, we really had great parent support. That's been something that was very vital for us. And it's something that's been consistent for us. Our parents that had their young people involved already, they would go out and do their own, and do their, or attend various dances around the state, around the country. And so that part of it was very beneficial for us, because in the initial stages, we didn't really have to go and do a whole lot of preparation. We could just go and present. I remember having people ask us, how long do you practice? How much time do your young people spend practicing? And we would tell them they don't practice with us, but they are out there being taught by their parents, and they're out there learning the protocols and everything in those dances. And so over time, though, that has changed. We've started to see that the numbers have dropped as we see fewer parents participating. And so in the case of how that's developed, now we're looking at for future development, for future growth, we're going to look at ways to partner with the tribes to help with the training, partner with elders to help with learning how they can teach the protocols. And so there are a lot of resources out there, partners that we can work with, that we plan to a different, as we're as we're seeing the changes, we're starting to adapt and understand, because the main purpose for it, and which is what from my understanding of this meeting, is for culturally responsive implementation, culturally being able to expose our young people and infuse culture into their educational experience as much as possible. And so over the course of time, we've had a lot of discussions, Donna and I and other folks, we've had a lot of discussions on how that can be done, not just for extracurricular activities, but also within the classroom, and just working to try and get that put into the system as much as possible. And so just thinking about how all the process has worked so far, over the course of time, it's been, in terms of how the incorporation and the utilization of Title VI funds have been incorporated into that. Just in terms of how, I'm just thinking back over the years, because it's changed over time. For a while there, during different phases, based upon how the funding was modified or how it was interpreted by the federal level, there were times where I had to be creative. I had to utilize funds, and primarily the way that we incorporate it now, it's very easy because of the objectives that we have. One of our primary objectives is the incorporation of native language, the incorporation of culture into our students. And so that's our objective. Before, we had to get a little creative with it, because our objectives during the No Child Left Behind era was we could only gear our objectives around reading and math. And so culture was somewhat, it was a muddy area at that point, but we were able to still make it work. We were able to still have our culture presenters and still work it out to be able to have our dance troupe and be able to have our students go out and present. And so, partners that's also a big factor. I encourage you as grantees, if you have a chance to partner with tribes, partner with tribal organizations, or any organization that has a similar mission, try to do that as much as possible. That just requires meeting. It requires researching, looking at what they can do, what their organization and their mission is about, and seeing if you can match that up, and being able to stretch your Title VI dollars further. That's what I always work for and look for, in terms of, and whatever that may be. It may not necessarily be only funds. It could be resources. It could be volunteering their time. It could be a lot of things, but those are areas that you can look at in terms of how, or you can incorporate into your project in your program, so that you're able to stretch your Title VI funds further and provide more opportunities for your students. Over the course of time, through different partnerships, we were able to do so many things. Our dance troupe was invited one year to the University of North Texas to present in their student union, and members were also participants in a united, or it was an international video conference, where some of our main leaders of our dance troupe, to meet with young people and talk about indigenous environmental issues in other countries, Uganda, and let's see, several Asian countries. And so there are so many opportunities that you can develop out there. And that partnership developed with with the EPA Region 10 office. At the time, it was Region 10. I believe it's changed now, but one of our partners was Dr. John Hook. And so out of that partnership, so many other opportunities. Some of our members were able to go and interact with indigenous cultures and populations over in let's see, the Altai Republic in Russia, in the Siberian region. And that was a very interesting trip. But though there are other opportunities that have developed over time, and so that's just, to me, the the dance troupe was just the tip of the iceberg of what can develop and what has developed here for us. And I just encourage you all to explore that as much as possible, explore what you can do, and with partnerships and stretching your funds. I'm going to stop there because I think it feels like it's about 10 minutes or so. And let's have, if you have any questions, I can answer those, or I can keep going if you'd like me to go further.
I had a question and then I'll open it up to the grantees, but what would you say has been the impact of that program on the students that participate?
That's a good question. The impact is, oh man, it's multifaceted. It's long term in terms of how it impacts those young people. Right now, it's very satisfying, very gratifying to me to be able to see those young people back when they were in school. Now they're adults, now they're parents, now they're teachers within our district. Now they're still involved. Donna Bustle here, that's helping lead our program, was involved with that years ago as one of our staff members, and now she's come to the point where she's there with the program in DC. And so we have, the impact is, it can be quite far reaching, I think. I don't know if that fully answers your question, but in terms of development and growth for individuals, I think that it has high potential for that.
Yes, absolutely. You did answer it. We did have a question in the chat. They asked, how much time per dance troupe do you require from the youth that participate on a monthly basis?
How much time do we require? Is that what the question was?
Yes, sir.
We really don't require them in terms of, let me read into the question a little bit in terms of requirements of being able to participate. The only requirement that they have to have for sure is they need to be eligible, and they need to make sure that they have their regalia. And as far as requirements, we do have in recent years we have asked them to attend certain events so that they're able to attend and they're able to learn protocols, because some of our young, especially, we have also connected with our dance troupe, we have some of our young men that are learning the drum, and they work with our elder Daniel Kozad now, and he teaches them the various protocols. In the past, we had Bill Kumsa Jr. I really miss him, but he would come and share so much with us about the various dances, songs, protocols, and various things, and he would teach our young people, our young men and young women, about all of the protocols there. So really, that's about the only requirement. And then in terms of what we base our participation in, is connected to the requests that we receive, whether that be request out of district or in district. We do quite a few presentations for all of our schools over the course of time, and we try not to just focus on Native American Heritage Month. We try to do it all year because we celebrate ourselves, I guess you could say.
Love that. That did make me think about, so you mentioned some elder involvement. Like, can you say more about how elders are involved in this program as well as maybe others?
Sure. We work with quite a few elders within Anadarko. If most of you may or may not be familiar, but we primarily have 7 to 9 tribes that are located, but our tribal diversity is high because of the makeup and the structure of our community. We have the BIE school nearby. We have the agency in the area office. So we have diverse tribal groups there. But we really focus on those that are nearby. So we try to get our elders to come in and present to the dance troupe, but also in our classes. We've had classes years where sometimes in some of those years we've had culture classes that served as part of the specials rotation. So one day they may go to the PE class, the other day they may go to music, and then one day they'll go to our culture class. And so we would bring our elders in and other different cultural presenters, and we would ask them, and they would present and it would vary. It would just depend on what their expertise or their area would be.
Thank you. We had another question in the chat. How do youth balance time between the dance troupe and their academic obligations?
Well, we want them to make sure that they're prioritizing their academic obligations so they can participate. That's just something that, as an educational program, that's what we want to promote first. But also, we try to teach them how to balance that in terms of making sure that they're focusing on the grades and things that they need to make, learning what they need to do, what they need to master within the classes, and try to incorporate culture within that as much as possible. That's always a fluctuating thing in terms of how that works within our district. But just trying to help them balance with life management, time management, being able to understand how that works. We have some that do that very well, and then some that we have to work with and balance out. Even just in terms of managing when we're there for presentations, managing how quickly we get there, how they are able to get ready. Some of our kids think that they don't really think about, hey, we need to be ready in 15 minutes, and some of them like to take longer. So we have to work with them. Let's see, did I answer the full question, or was that? I guess I did. I think I did.
I think so. And Donna Bussell also added something in the chat about that you have staff members that are native in each school that help students with their academic skills. So she added that in the
definitely
chat as well.
Yeah, I didn't talk about that, but you're right, we do, and they help us with the coordination of that. That's the key for this, is to have those individuals in the buildings that work with those young people every day. It can range from small conversations. I know Mr. Lucero, who is at our middle school, we talk a lot, and he talks about how he's always giving them a little talk here and there about whatever it may be, helping them learn what they need to learn for not only their grades, but protocols when we're going out to presentations and that kind of thing.
We had another question in the chat as well. She said, you mentioned youth must have their regalia. Do you assist the youth that don't have the resources for that? And if so, what does that look like?
That's what I was mentioning earlier, that as I'm sure I didn't spell it out clearly or speak clearly about it, but as we're seeing that we're having less parent involvement, or where they're not going out and they're not making those pieces for those kids, for the regalia, whatever it may be, then that's where we're having to work and partner with our tribal programs. We have several here. The Wichita programs have quite a few culturally based, prevention based programs where they incorporate culture as prevention, and so they're able to develop some of those over the course of time. It's a work in progress in that area for sure, because the items that usually are required are expensive. And so to be able to get a student fitted and ready, it can be a challenge. Some of the things that we have done, though, if we have someone that either they outgrew something, and so we're able to work with some that have had their gear before. They don't use it anymore, and either they borrow it or we figure out a way to where they're able to pass it along and help those kids participate. So there's a couple of options there that you can try.
Love that idea. Are there any other questions from the grantees? You're welcome to put them in the chat or just come off mute and ask your question as well. Mark, can you say a little bit more about your question?
Yeah, so this is an ACE-funded program, correct, David?
For ACE, no, we are just a Title VI formula grant program. And we also have funding through our Johnson O'Malley contract. And then we have other funds as well, but those are smaller, but primarily it's Title VI and JOM.
Okay, so if we were to like get a request like this for an ACE funded program, would the school district be the provider or the special programs be the provider?
I guess that would depend upon the agreement that you have with the district and your area. That's what I mean. I don't know if I could say that or answer that question in a broad way, but it could possibly go either way. I would see that as a possibility depending upon how your agreement is set up with your district, and that could be spelled out in an MOU or just a simple agreement. It just depends on what your district requires and what you require in terms of your program.
Yeah, I would imagine that since you offer this opportunity to students, and if there was a student that wanted to participate that didn't have the regalia, the parents could ask us to provide the opportunity for him to be equipped with the regalia. Is that correct, Donna?
That is a great idea, Mark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
definitely.
think that's a great idea. They could reach out to you and have things like that's what the parents wanted. That's a good idea, I think. What do you think, Casey?
Yes, I agree. I think that's a good idea.
Thank you.
I think there's a lot of ways too that you could go about creating a service provider agreement for that as well.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yes, the more creative you can be, the better. That's what I would say. Good question.
Absolutely. Any other questions? Y'all have had great questions. Okay. I don't see any more questions from our grantees, so I think David, to close it out, if you could maybe share a little bit about things that are on the horizon, like what you're looking to next in terms of culturally responsive programming, or this program specifically.
Okay. I am excited to say that I will be able to do some new projects. We will be looking at enhancing our dance troupe program and getting more participation. We're not fully impacted, or I guess you could say we are, but we still have some remaining I guess barriers or obstacles from the pandemic, but we're moving past those. And so I look for having a more I guess you could say a robust program for our dance troupe activity. What I'm really wanting to do is get it to the point where we can take a core group on an international trip at some point. That will require extra funding that we can't use federal funding per se and all of that. That's something we'll have to look at, but that's something I'd like to be able to see. I have different partners and opportunities that are there. It's just a matter of making it work and figuring it out. I've been talking with our tribal leaders locally, so it's developing, and so I'm looking forward to that, to seeing how, because not only do I want to give our young people opportunity to experience our culture, but I want them to understand a global culture. I want them to be globally competent and be able to go out and understand and meet young people from indigenous people from all over the world, if possible. And how that will happen, I don't have all the answers, but that's something that I've had in my head for a long time of wanting to have that, wanting to see that develop with our program. So I'll be able to see that happen, I think, in the next year or two. We're working on that.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing, and thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be here. We really appreciate it. So Watto, David, thank you. Really
Yes,
insightful listening to you.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're here. Thank you for being
Thank
here.
you.
And we know that you have some more pressing issues than this going on right now. So we will let you go. And if anybody wants to has any other questions, we can definitely forward that over to you to help.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I'll be glad to help
Appreciate
in
it.
any way. Yeah,
Okay.
thank you for the invitation.
Have some Brahms for me
Have a good-
today.
All right, I will.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Thank you all for your great questions. And then I'm about to turn it over to our second guest speaker, Derek from Kiowa and the Kiowa Tribe Youth Development Arena. So would love to hear about your work with your tribe, Derek, and the importance of culturally responsive programming and its impact on students.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon. My name is Derek Topai, Kiowa from Carnegie, Oklahoma. Right now, my title is the Kiowa Tribe Youth Development Director. I appreciate Mrs. Busso for the invite, for me to speak this afternoon with everybody in here. So, I really like to say aho, thank you for that. So a little bit about myself. Like I said, I'm Kiowa from Carnegie, Oklahoma. Carnegie, Oklahoma is the headquarters of the Kiowa Tribe. Here in Carnegie, the population is probably 75 to 80% Kiowa. In the school system, it's around 51% Kiowa students. My program has been kind of had a change here within the past administration that came on board within the past 2 years. Before, the name was the Kiowa Tribe Youth Sports and Activities. I tried to make sure that I was including health with our kids and recreational activities. Myself, growing up, that was one thing that we had for us here in the little town of Carnegie was sports, and that was one thing that kept us busy and kept us out of trouble. So when I came on board at the tribe, I started out with a little sports team. The administration seeing what I was doing with the youth encouraged me to keep doing what I was doing. So I was doing that for a couple of years, and then myself at the tribe, my growth here working, also seeing things, wanting to bring more to my people. My vision grew, and when the past administration came on, they seen what I was doing. Chairman Spotterbird and Vice Chairman Jacob Zotai came in and wanted to do some ideas at me on making the program a little more better for our youth to be leaders. And they came in with the vision of what they wanted. I was seeing that for a while there. So we did come about changing our name from the Youth Sports Activities to the Kiowa Tribe Youth Development Program to try to develop our youth to be our future leaders, you know, for our tribe, for our community. So that's what we've been doing the past 2 years. Still doing our sports and our recreational things that we have for our kids, but right now our main focus is developing them into, you know, being our future leaders. I've been fortunate enough to be able to go to some of our big conferences and trainings that our leaders have been going to. So I've been seeing what other tribes and other programs have been doing, and I noticed that with some of these conferences and trainings that they've been having youth conferences and trainings also. So when I started seeing that, that's where I was like, man, I want to get some Kiowa youth involved. I want, you know, to get our youth from our area involved to build them up to be the future leaders of our tribe. One of these days, they'll be able to you know, lead our tribe. One of these days, they may be chairman or chairlady for our tribes. So that's why I really started pushing, you know, towards the leadership development, you know, of our program. Right now, we're developing our youth council. It's going to be our first youth council here at the Kiowa Tribe. It's been in the talks for a couple of years now, but we're finally getting it started. The youth council is going to consist of our grades 7 through 12, Kiowa Enrolled, Kiowa Descent, and we're going to be focusing on, you know, like I said, building them up to be the next leaders. We're looking at going to a Unity conference coming up in June, and just really putting our youth out there, you know, to see what else is around, you know, outside of Carnegie. And also in the program, we tie in our cultural. Cultural is a big, important part of what we do. And just like what Mr. Sullivan said, you know, we have elders within our programs. We have our language program that I go to. My program right now is a tribally funded program. The way that our government is set up, we're set up in different divisions. We have a tribal operations division, a health and wellness division, a education agency division, and a community and development. My program falls under the education agency, and I work with our higher education directors, our higher education programs, and other programs that deal with, you know, the education part of it. And culture, you know, going back to that is very important. We worked hand in hand with our language program on getting them in, teaching them language classes after school. We have a little program, after school program, where we got the kids coming in and teaching them language, teaching them songs. I know Mrs. Bussell wanted me to touch base on our singing sessions that we've created for our youth. That's one thing that we just got started. Kind of like with our Unity, our youth council has been in the talks, and we actually finally just went ahead and started doing it. You know, a lot of you know, things are like that. You know, people want to talk about things, but we actually had to get it going. You know, so we got it going. I had an elder within the tribe that is very knowledgeable of our songs and our ways, and I met with him, and he was on board and wanted to teach our youth. And so we started, you know, planning our singing sessions, which are Kiowa singing sessions, which go over each one of our different songs that we have for our societies. And we started the program. We meet on Wednesday nights. We meet from 6 to 8 in our Health and Human Services building. We have about 20 to 25, 30 kids, you know, that show up every Wednesday nights. Parents, you know, bringing the kids, grandparents, you know, bringing the kids in, letting them off or staying. You know, we encourage them to stay. Families, you know, coming and letting their loved ones off. We have a youth from, 4 or 5 years old sitting at our drum all the way up to high school. And then we have our older gentlemen that are there, like our older mentors, other singers that carry our songs and traditions also that are there teaching our youth, you know, our ways. And that's been going on for the past, we started that in the fall or the beginning of the school year. School's about to end, so we're about to be winding down. We're going to conclude for the school year, pick it back up in the fall again. That was one thing that my program initiated here at the tribe, along with our youth council, the singing sessions, our after-school program, which is all tied in to our culture and our language. We make sure that that's first and foremost. Our kids are required to attend, certain things that our other programs are having, like our language program may be having a language fair or a language camp. We got to make sure that our kids are going to our language camp, learning that. We'll have not only our singing sessions, but we'll have our cultural like hymns and different songs that we have, in our tribe for them to attend, our different celebrations, our ceremonies that we have. Our youth are big in being a part of that. Like I said, there's requirements that we have that we, in my program for them to attend, to be a part of it, cleanup day, setup day, breaking down day. We have our kids out there making sure that they're helping in any way that they can and learning our culture. Again, that's very important for me, is to teach our youth, what we have. Also, we get them involved in ceremonies. We have our sweat lodge that we have for our youth, our Native American church, things that we have. But there's a lot of things that I could talk about that we're doing, for our kids here in Carnegie, for the Kiowa tribe, not just for our Kiowa kids, but all kids, here, like what Mr. Sullivan said, we have 7 to 8 tribes in our community, which I reach out to the Apache tribe, Comanche Nation, the Wichita, Delaware tribes, and we all try to contribute and work together, for the betterment of our youth and for the betterment of our communities. So that's, a little bit of what I do. I can open up to any questions or anything that I touch base on. I just hopefully I didn't ramble on too much.
No, that was great. It was a really great overview, actually. Thank you.
Yeah,
Well, so for the grantees, if you all have any questions, feel free to put those in the chat or come off mute. I was curious, what does programming look like in the summer? I know it's something that we talk about sometimes, is what are we doing for the summer, and what types of programs can we do when school is out? And so just curious what types of things you all do for the summer.
Yeah, summer, we keep it going, we don't let up on our cultural camps, our recreational activities, our health and wellness activities that we have. We want to make sure that even in the summertime, that we're doing something for our kids, because like you said, we know that that's a downtime where, they're not, learning as much, as they should. So we're making sure that, they're also staying busy with those things. And like I said earlier, we have some cultural ceremonies that go on during the summertime here. So a lot of them are involved with those things. So we make sure, that they're really involved with during the summertime also. And we have things for them. I think for me here at the tribe, it benefits me because I have programs that I can go to, and we have different, things, activities, events, that keep our kids active and going. So.
Thank you. Donna did put something in the chat. So could you touch on how important it has been to have these types of programs, and how that helps the youth be engaged in their own learning, and how that helps with their mental health?
Oh yeah, man. Mental health, man, is very, very important. Here in the small community and surrounding areas, I know that's a very important subject to talk about. Is our mental health. A lot of our Native kids, are going through a lot of things, and for me, growing up here, I try to do my best, to help our youth out any way that I can, because I know what it feels like to go through, things and see things, peer pressure, drugs, alcohol, these things that we grow up and we see, and divorced families, different things that go on in the country that a lot of our non-Indians, really see or know about. And, I've been there, seen it. So what I want to do is make sure that I'm letting our kids know that they do have somebody here that's going to help them. And myself, which is helped me, is I have a son my oldest son, suffered from mental health. And at the time, I didn't really know how to deal with it as a parent. I didn't really know how to handle it. And for us as parents, and for us that, for our parents were kind of hard on us, the old school way of parenting. I wanted to be like that with my son, just say, hey, get up, why are you laying around? Or you need to stay busy, or you need to be doing something, quit just things like that. But when I started really knowing how important it was and started going with my son to these mental health meetings, I seen that I was taking the wrong approach on it. I need to take a different approach on it. So I used that years back to help me out now to communicate with our youth, to go and talk with our youth about things. I know now that how to word things and how to conversate, with our youth on mental health. And like I said, the Carnegie School is right next door. We're neighbors. The Kiowa Tribe and Carnegie Public Schools are practically neighbors. The Carnegie Public Schools is actually the land that it's on was given to the school. It's Kiowa land and was given to the school, years back. So we're making sure that we have a voice inside our school system. I've been involved with the school system, talking with the counselors, Mr. Sullivan's colleague, JOM coordinator here in the Carnegie school system. We have a good relationship. She comes with me with things. She'll tell me if something's going on with the youth or if they have a problem in school or at home. And I try to do my best, to be involved with them. And that's one thing, like I said earlier, that a lot of the non-native faculty see within our school system, of what our kids are going through and what they suffer. And I just make sure that I'm there and I'm the voice for our youth to tell our kids and our educators, what they're going through, because I'm very involved with the school system here. So I know our teachers. And I go to them and I'm just straightforward with them and honest with them. I tell them, hey, our kids may not tell you some of the things, or they're not going to open up to you like they would me or someone that they know. And that's just truth, and after a while, they notice that and they see that. And they'll call me or they'll contact me if there's anything going on with some kids that are needing some attention or needing someone to talk to. And like I said, the mental health is very important because I had my son that went through it and nieces and nephews that go through it. And years back, we had a lot of our youth here within our communities, take their own lives, sadly. And we had to really step up as, the tribe and as people, to what we're going to do for our kids, what we're going to do to help our kids and let them know that we're here for them. And that right there goes back to our ceremonies. That's why we encourage them to be involved in our sweat lodge, our Native American church, those things that we have, for us as Kiowa people, as Apache people, as Comanche people, the things that we were given, we make sure that they're learning those things because, that's what the way I was brought up. And so I want to make sure that I'm teaching, our youth that, the same way, because that's what's got me through the hard things that I've been through. And I know that, that's very important for us, for myself, is to teach our youth our ways.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that thoughtful response.
Oh yeah,
thank you
yeah,
for
yeah.
sharing.
Yeah, I mean, it's very important, mental health, not just with our youth, with our adults, go through a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's something we could talk about, for hours.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Does anyone else have any questions for Derek? I don't see any other questions. I would like to hear how you approach finding and developing partnerships. I know you mentioned you all work with other tribes in the, an
Yeah.
area that are represented in the schools. And I know that comes up a lot in conversations as well, as how to get partnerships to enhance our program.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, yes, ma'am. For me, it's just I'm a people person, so I like to reach out and talk to people. I reach out to the tribes. So that's really, like I said, beneficial for me is being able to help the tribes here, but then also the area that we are, Mrs. Bussell knows how small knit our communities are. It's kind of like, everybody knows everybody. So for me to reach out to the schools, I know some of the teachers that maybe taught me or my kids, so I can go back to them and talk to them. And then also just being a voice in the community. Not only do I, direct the youth development program, but I've also been a coach, for basketball. I've been assistant coach at Riverside Indian School. So just being in the community, being vocal in the community, being outgoing in the community, building those relationships, partnerships, always speaking up for the Kiowa tribe and what we're doing, and ultimately just loving what you do and having that passion. For me, being Kiowa from Carnegie, that's what I love and that's my passion. So I'm vocal about it, and I'm gonna make sure that everybody knows, that I'm gonna speak up for our Kiowa youth, for the Kiowa tribe. We have to interact with each other, in our communities. Our kids go to school with non-native kids and vice versa. Some of our kids come from, a non-native parent. We have what you call it, marriages, interracial marriages that go on. So we know that for us to be, succeeding and successful is we got to have these engagements with the community and involvement with non-natives also, so I'm finding every ways that I can, to reach out and get partnerships and get support, so it's just being really outgoing, and really being really committed to what you want to do and what you're trying to do, and that's just me, like I said, that's just how I am when it comes to, our Kiowa youth and our Kiowa people.
Love that. I'm curious, are there ways that you all involve students that are Kiowa but may not live in the community?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's another area where for me here, the Kiowa tribe, the way our government's set up, we have 7 districts within our tribe, within our government. So we have 7 legislators that represent, the Kiowa tribe, and they're spread out within the southwest side of Oklahoma, and for me, I have to make sure that I'm including every one of our Kiowa youth from those districts. And it goes from all the way from Carnegie, Anadarko, all the way down south to the Red River, the Oklahoma-Texas state line. So I have to make sure that I'm reaching out to our legislators, giving them info of what I got going on, so that they can be a part of it. And I'm really thankful that our legislators are very involved with what we have going on too. So when I have something going on, I'm usually reaching out to them. Or myself, I'll go out to those districts and hand out flyers. Social media, was really big. So posting things on social media and just, word of mouth. And for us, we know that if you do things for our youth and they see things, and they see the involvement, they'll want to be there. I know social media is really important on getting the kids, involved with things. So we're making sure that I'm taking pictures of every event that I'm doing, posting it on social media, I'm sharing it, I'm tagging all these kids so that people can see what we're doing and what our kids are accomplishing. And they love that, And when we have our next event, there's more kids that come because they see what we have going on, or they know that, something's going to be going on where they are being exposed to something or seeing something that they've never, seen before.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. I think social media is such a big thing for our kids, and especially for those of us that have larger service areas and trying to figure out ways to, get things out to kids across the area and make sure that everyone is able to participate. So.
Oh yeah, and then still I grew up reading the newspaper, I got my uncles, everything that say, hey, you still got to put stuff in the newspaper. So we still distribute in the newspapers, newsletters, social media. We got to make sure that we're trying to reach everyone that we can. No matter what age. We're trying to make sure we're sharing it with every age level that we can.
Yeah.
Because for us, in Indian country, a lot of our youth are with grandparents. A lot of our youth are with uncles and aunties. So we got to make sure that we're reaching all those, and we know a lot of our people don't have social media or don't have computer at home. So we're thinking of everything that we can to get it out there.
Yeah, it seems like they'll do a lot of kind of a wide variety of communication and communication types and getting the word out. I think that's really important, especially it's really thoughtful to be thinking about, how might other people in these kids' lives be engaging with information and how can you get it out to them as well. So
Yeah, yes, ma'am. And
awesome.
then like what you said, just establishing that relationship with the schools. I know the JOM coordinator at Carnegie School. She works really close with Mr. Sullivan. I just started to meet with Mr. Sullivan, and talk about things. I know that he's doing a lot of great things over at the Anadarko Public Schools. I reached out to our Mountain View Public Schools, which is, not very far from Carnegie, JOM coordinators, things like that, that I've reached out to. And so, yeah, I'm really thankful for, having them also, Mr. Sullivan did touch base on that international trip, and we're working together. We've had meetings with our leaders, our chairman, Spotted Bird, and vice chairman Zotai, have been meeting with Mr. Sullivan and myself on trying to see if we can, get that going, getting that international trip, going for some of our youth.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for being here today. Really, really appreciate your time, Wado, Derek. And if anyone thinks of any questions, at some point later, feel free to pass those along to us and we'll try to get those to Derek and David. Thank you so much for sharing. And Donna, if you wanted to add anything.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. And
Yeah,
it's it's good to hear our folks, around Indian country doing good things for our kids. And I know our grantees are doing a bunch of great things for kids in their area as well. So Indian country should look different in a few years with all these kids growing up and having a lot more strength built in them, different strength, I should say, built in them than what we did. Our strength is, I grew up like you too, it was hard-nosed, grandpa and grandma.
Yeah.
We
Same.
were raised like that. Yeah. So, and my kids are a little different. They have a different type of strength than our other kids that I know our people have, our grantees are training up to. So I appreciate you being here, and you got Dasney. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And hopefully we'll see you soon.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Like I
Yeah,
said, I hope for it.
Yeah. Go have some Brahms for me too. So
Yeah, Brahms. Yeah, I know. When I go places outside of Oklahoma, usually people are talking about Brahms. Like, man, I wish we could have some Brahms or
man, when it's
Sonic.
not
But
there,
I
you
know,
miss it.
I think Sonic's around everywhere now.
Yeah, I don't have Sonic either, but
I miss the water when I'm not in Oklahoma.
Yeah,
It's so
the
much
water.
cleaner there.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it, ladies. Thank you very much. I'll hold for it. Yeah, if anybody has questions or anything, I'm always willing, to help out. I believe that it's very, very important, ending in the country, to, do what we can for our youth, like what y'all said, they're the future, so I'm trying to do everything that I can, so I hope, thank you again.
Great, thank you. I hope everyone enjoyed the guest speakers today, a little bit of a break from our usual grant management business and things like that. I know I got a lot out of it, and it made me feel refreshed. So especially on top of having been in Oklahoma and then coming back and being in Oklahoma next week, just a great 2 weeks for me.
I'm jealous.
I know, I just went and then I'm going back. So I just feel so much better when I'm there.
It's home. That's why. It's
Yeah,
home.
exactly. All right, so we are going to close out with some reminders, not quite as exciting, but I'll try to make them quick and to the point. And if you think of any questions in the meantime, if Derek is still with us, after reminders, I'll give a little bit of space as well if y'all think of any additional questions. Quick reminder that you do have your Padlet, so if you're looking for forms and things like that, always check your Padlet first. And then if you don't see something, feel free to reach out to me or Donna via email, and we'll try to get you what you need as quickly as possible. Or if you see something that doesn't look quite right, I'll go check it out and make sure that everything is updated, and you have everything that you need on there. So that link is in the chat if you need it. Definitely recommend bookmarking that. And then just a note about drawdowns, remember that grantees must minimize the time elapsing between the transfer of funds from ED and the disbursement by the grantee, whether that payment is made by electronic funds transfer or issuance or redemption of checks, warrants, or payment by other means. So all that to say that OIE prefers quarterly drawdowns at a minimum. So if that's something that we're struggling with, make sure you're reaching out to us for coaching to try to think of some maybe creative ways to use your funding to make sure that we're maximizing impact for kids in our communities. And I will shout out John's message in the chat. So I invite everyone to attend the 26th Tunica Biloxi Powwow, May 18th through the 19th, 2024 on their reservation near Marksville, Louisiana. So if y'all can make it to that, there you go. See, who said reminders wouldn't be fun? All right, so just a couple additional notes on drawdown. So at this time of the year, you should have expended and drawn down approximately 70% of your funds. So make sure you're kind of checking in with your budget office or the person that does your budgeting regarding your drawdowns and seeing where you fall in that percentage and what challenges you might be having. Then develop a plan to overcome any low drawdown situations. Of course, you can always contact Donna to communicate challenges or to talk through some creative ways to solve those challenges or expand services. And then attendance at events like these. So OIE expects all grantees to attend events. If you are unable to attend, recordings are provided for each program and can be found on our YouTube channel, which is linked. We will share that link in the chat with y'all as well. And so we always want to make sure that you're checking and reviewing what was missed. And if you're able to, if you can plan for someone else to attend from your program, that is always welcome and great as well. So told you I would make reminders quick. That's all my reminders. So if in that time you came up with any questions or anything, feel free to ask them now. You can share them in the chat or come off mute. You're welcome to ask Derek, Donna, or myself questions.
And if I had questions about your budget or carryover or anything like that, I already sent you an email about it. So I wanted to have some guest speakers today because to soften the blow a little bit whenever me and Casey start coming at you guys for all the things that we need. But so hopefully that helped.
Right.
But,
Before we
you
email
know,
about budgets and APRs and
budgets and-
everything.
You said you had 999s. Where are those? So we'll come at you later with that. But we thank you guys so much. And I think we had a really high turnout for ACE APRs this year. So you guys did great. Thank you so
did.
much. And
did.
I attribute all of that to our TA team and all of their help with the APRs because we can't do this by ourselves, or we have a small little team up here and our TA team makes everything so much easier. So we appreciate you all.
Thank you, Donna. I'm gonna steal that part of the recording for myself, so I can just listen back to it. All right, well, I don't see any additional questions, just some thank yous. So again, thank you, Otto, Derek. And then we will pop up the poll, the end of event poll here for you. Looking for it. Sorry, y'all. There we
Wado.
go.
Cherokee.
All right. Yes. Yes, sir. Yes. Yeah, I'm Cherokee and Choctaw, but I was raised by my mama, so culturally Cherokee.
Wado and Mado,
Yeah.
huh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
See,
yeah.
look. I love when we have people from Oklahoma.
Just the OCO,
Mhm.
first came on.
OCO. Or CO, but I prefer OCO. All right, so y'all should see this end of event poll here. If y'all could please fill that out for me. We definitely value and appreciate your feedback. Oh, great. So as you guys are, thank you, Adrian. As you all are figuring out or filling out your end of event poll, a couple of upcoming events for you. We do have monthly office hours, of course. So for May, that's May 23rd from 1 to 2 Eastern. And fourth Thursday of every month, unless there's a holiday or something that prevents us from having it on the fourth Thursday, and then we'll let you know what the date is that month, if that's the case. Our next Talking Circle for ACE is August 8th from 3 to 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Y'all should have that on your calendars, but if not, calendar invite coming soon, and it's on the Padlet as well. Thank you all for filling out that poll. And then, of course, if you need to connect with us for anything, you want to talk about budget, you know, you just want a good cry, whatever you need, feel free to book coaching. There at our link that Inshin shared in the chat. Thank you, Inshin. Or you can always email us with questions as well. And you're able to email and meet with Donna as well, too, if you want to chat through things with her. And that's it. That's all I have.